Assalamu alaikum. I'm Sajdah Wendy Muhammad, and welcome to the Sajdah Wendy Muhammad YouTube channel. This is part 2 of making big decisions. You don't want to miss this. Go grab some coffee. This is our morning coffee talk. We're going to talk about life, love, and business, but our real focus this morning is making big decisions. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in about 5 minutes.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome. It's Friday. I know some of y'all is happy about that. Y'all know I'm mad, right? I did not have time to make no tea or coffee. I was curling and straightening up this hair because I didn't like the natural thing I was going for, or it just wasn't working on camera. So I looked up and I'm like, I ain't got time to make no coffee, no tea, nothing. But that's okay. It is okay. So I put the announcement up for Monday morning motivation. We're going to talk about health. We're going to talk about taking charge of our health Monday morning, and just kind of learning how to own our own health. You know why a lot of times we're not successful? We talk about this a lot in the nation, um, and a little bit in our Christian circles, but a lot in the nation. It's a big thing for us. Y'all know that a lot of us still believe in a spook God. I want you to think about this. Why is it that we don't take charge of our health? We think we're just going to miraculously lose weight. We think we're just going to miraculously stay healthy. You wouldn't do that when it came to getting dressed. You know that if you don't get up and put them cute clothes on, you're just not going to get up and have on cute clothes. But for some reason, when there's certain things that we don't really quite understand, or certain things that society has trained us and taken away our ownership of, we really do leave it up to a spook God. We leave our finances up to a spook God. We leave our health up to a spook God. We leave our decisions up to a spook God. We leave our relationships up to a spook God. We just think it's going to work. We even pray to God like God ain't real. It's interesting, right? Then this is what happens. See, once you start believing in a spook God, you get really competitive because you start thinking that somebody has access to something that you don't. And again, when you believe in a spook God, it makes you really insecure when you don't believe that God is real. What do I mean by spook God? Like if you want something, you think it's just going to fall out of the sky until them hunger pangs get really hungry and you say, let me get up and go get some food. Let me get up and go beg somebody. Let me get a cup, ask for somebody for some food. Let me go over to somebody's house, eat something, but we figure it out, right? Um, but we believe in a spook God. We don't believe that, even though in the church we say God is real, God is good, and all this, but in the mosque we say there's no such thing as a spook God. God is a man. Ugh. But it takes a lot to unravel yourself from that thinking. That's why we struggle with these big decisions. That's why a topic like this is necessary. We spent yesterday talking a lot about getting into flow state and learning how to use your ability to access flow state to help us with making big decisions. We talked about making sure that we're not nursing low vibrational tonality, whether it's music, movies, people. We talked about that. We talked about staying at that high vibration, making sure that we spend time with people whose conversations can be high vibrational, or even people who, if we bring our problems to them, they're not going to go, okay, you at a low vibration. Well, I'm going to show you I can go even lower. Let me tell you what I've been through. We don't want that. We want people who, when we give our challenge or our problem, they're going to help take us out of that low vibratory state and into a space where we can function and access things better. It's like being so emotional and being in a rush that you can't find your keys and they're sitting there right in front of you. That's how God is. He's always there, always around. The answers are always there. What we need is always there. What we want is always right there. But depending on how we're vibrating, what our state of mind is, we may or may not even see it, even if it's right in front of our face. If it was a snake, it would have bit you. um, so anyway, let me see y'all in the chat. Good morning, Mom. Happy Friday. I see Sister Betty. Excuse me. It's almost time for allergy season, ain't it? Okay, Sister Betty. Who else we got in here? Nubia Latifa says morning salutations and happy Friday, all. Sister Aletha says ASA Friday blessings to everyone. Michael Muhammad says Assalamu alaikum, teach beloved. Yeah, we're gonna deal with this spook God thing today on making big decisions, because that's why a lot of times we can't make it. That's why a lot of times we can't even make it in business, because we're waiting on somebody to give us the money. We're waiting on somebody to teach us. We're waiting on somebody to come hold our hand. We still believe in a spook God. This is why it's very difficult for those of us who get quote unquote super religious to be successful. And then we use deceptive intelligence. Oh, we're the poor righteous teachers, or we're the we got a vow of poverty and all of that stuff. No, it's because you believe in a spook God. Because if you have access to wisdom, knowledge, understanding that is supposed to be the greatest and the most supreme in the universe, there's no reason why you and I can't have, do, and say whatever it is that we want. We still believing in the spook God. And it's like a handicap. And I'm not being hard on us, like to hurt our feelings. I'm just letting us know where we are. And again, awareness is what? It's half the problem. It's 75%, they say, of the problem, actually. So once your subconscious becomes aware, then that part of your mind is going to say, let's fix this. Let's find a solution to this. Okay. But that's why we can't be successful, is because of the spook God thing. This is why we can't make big decisions, because we still believing in a spook God. And then once we start believing in a spook God, then somebody can come and give us rules of engagement and tell us things that are not true. And we start using that as our way in which to make that big decision. You know what? Let me give you an example. Everybody has their own. Let me say it this way. God showed up in each and every one of us for a reason, with a form of expression that is unique. So when God said, I got something I want to say, I got something I want to share, I got something I want to show the world, I'm going to show up on this planet as a blade of grass, as Sajdah, as Sister Aletha, as Nubia Latifa, as Brother Michael. But in that expression, in that showing up, there's something unique. There's something that you and I, in this form, showed up on the planet to do. And our interactions, and this is just my experience. Y'all know what I do on this show. I give you my experiences. Okay. That expression, and that means we have a very unique and different relationship with the universe, with God. It's different. And certainly we can learn from other people. In fact, about it, when I see people in tune with themselves and in tune with the earth, the universe, the planets, the sun, moon, the star, when I see people in tune with that, it motivates me to get in tune myself in my own way. And it becomes very contagious, very beautiful. In the Nation of Islam, we study the earth, the measurements of the earth, the lakes, the mountains, the population of the people. That's giving us a relationship to not only this planet that we live on, but a relationship to the universe. It's giving us context. It's giving us a compass, right? So we know where we are. And how many we are among the masses. It gives us a sense of space, time, occupation. It changes things. If and here's an example. If if I tell you that you are standing on 23rd and Michigan in Chicago, that gives you a sense of where you are, right? You know you're not on 103rd in Michigan. You know you're not at 900 South Michigan. You know you on 23rd in Michigan in Chicago. Then if I say, well, yeah, you're on Michigan, and Michigan is such and such number of streets east or west of another street. I'm giving you an understanding. I'm giving you a direction. And if I say you're one of 10 people who are standing right there on 23rd in Michigan, that's giving you more information about who you are. That's allowing your subconscious mind to go, okay, I get it. I know where I am. I know what I'm doing. So if I know that my goal is to get to 46 in Michigan, you just told me I was on 23rd, so I know how to get to 46. So when God came and gave us those measurements, and He said, you're on a planet that's moving at 1,037 and a third miles per hour. What is He telling you? He's telling you about movement and vibration. And there's so many. I'm working on a show where we're going to break that down, because I think what happens is we forget, or we don't even really think about what that really means. And why on earth would God come and say to us, here's the measurements of the earth, here's the oceans, here's the lakes? Why would He tell us that Lake Michigan was 68 and a half miles wide and 409,000, I think it is, feet deep, or 409 feet deep? Why would He tell us that? What's the point? So that when we're looking at that body of water, we know what we're looking at. We know how long it is. We know how wide it is. We know how deep it is. And what was so important about that body of water that He felt like He needed to give us those measurements? So my point being is this: the more we study, and in our decision making, we have actual facts, it helps us in our analytics, and it also helps us in our flow state that we talked about yesterday. I'm going to go deeper in it. I don't want to get too, I'm purposely trying to stay at the surface on that one, because that's a whole show that I'm working on in terms of why. Just exploring why. I don't have the answer, but I just want to explore why. So let's go back to the spook God thing. Remember I told you that believing in a spook God makes you competitive. And somewhere between being competitive and being inspired is where most of us live. Okay? For some of us, some things are really make us competitive, and then we get jealous and envious. And then some things really inspire us, and we get inspired, and we either we'll take that inspiration and individualize it, or we'll take that inspiration and go, no, I'm going to do exactly what he or she did. I'll tell you something that happened to me. I was listening to a person talk to me about how they was praying. And this person was going in about what she was at, how she was talking to God and what she was saying. She was like, Lord, please. It was very impassioned. I felt her emotion. And I remember, and then she was telling me how after she did this prayer, whatever it was that she was doing, it was kind of like a wailing wall type of prayer. And afterwards that it worked. And I remember going, wow. And as I was talking to her, I was sitting in the seat of something that I was working on. And I thought, wow, that's cool. She did that like that, and it just came. And I said, I got a relationship with God. We talk a lot. Let me see if that works for me. So in this particular case, I sat down And I went into meditation first because I said I want to make sure my frequency and my vibration is high. It's at the right space. And when I this is fun. See, me and Allah have a really funny relationship. Some of y'all relationships with Allah is funny, so it depends on, but me and Allah is funny. And I was getting into this space, trying to get in a flow state, trying to get into a frequency with the intention, with the thought in the back of my mind that I was going to kind of do this prayer like this person I heard. Have you ever heard somebody pray and you immediately start saying what they said? Because you like, maybe that's what I'm missing. Don't y'all acting quiet. Don't act like y'all, look, y'all not perfect. You done heard somebody pray before and say, oh, let me say it like that. Because maybe that's why mine ain't working. Well, that's what I did. So as I started to, right before I started to end the meditation, I started thinking, okay, let me tune into God so that when I say this thing, like I heard this lady saying it, he could really hear it. And you know what I heard God say? He said, don't talk to me like that. That's not the nature of our relationship. Don't talk to me like that. And I was shook. I'm sitting there. I was sitting on the floor. And I said, did I just hear what I thought I heard? And the answer was yeah. And I was like, man, that was a beautiful prayer. What he mean? What? Don't talk to you like that, huh? So then I had to start meditating on that because now I was stuck. So clearly it came into my brain. Don't talk to me like that. And I started kind of going back over some other things. And what I came to the conclusion was that I'm like one of God's executives. I'm on the team. I'm a God with the baby G, with the small g. And I start realizing that there's never been a time when I really put my mind to something and solicited the guidance from God, from the universe, from Allah, however I chose to make the address at that time, that I have not been successful. You ever notice how when you got up off the couch and decided that there was no spook God, that it happened? I realized that this woman was, her prayer, while it was beautiful, she was coming from a space of not knowing the reality of God. And God chastised me when I'm ramping myself up to say the prayer like that. So, and let me tell you how spooky I was with it. I went through my whole Al-Fatiha. I did my rak'ah. I sat down, went into meditation. And then because normally what I do is after I do my formal prayers, I have a space where it's just me and God and we talk. And so I was going to do it in that session. God said, don't talk to me like that. And in that moment, I said, what are you doing? You on the team. God has chosen you. He put you on this planet. He wakes you up every day. He blesses you abundantly. Excuse me. He blesses you in so many ways that you can't even count them. You one of his. You on the team. So how do you go to God? How do you go to your boss? How do you go to somebody when you're on the team? You don't go to your boss per se begging and crying. What do? Welcome, Servant Nasir. Welcome, LinkedIn user. Welcome, Sister Monica. Sister Michael, Brother Michael, welcome. What do? You say, all right. And this is how I've always done it, but I got moved in that moment. Okay, Allah, this is what I feel like you're inspiring me to do. This is what I feel like I need to do. Here's my desire. Now, I'm very clear that desires are not usually my own. God has a way of, when he wants us to do something, he makes it show up in the form of something that we want to do sometimes. So I'm clear on the desire. So I'm trying to make this decision. Here are my facts. This is what I'm dealing with. This is how I feel about it. This is the impact that I think this decision is going to make on my life, on my ability to serve you, on my ability to be a conduit. And then I say, what do you think? Do you have any suggestions on how I can make this happen? Is there anything that I need to see, that you know I need to see, that I'm missing? Is there any place I need to go? Is there anybody I need to talk to that that the conversation may or may not be on this subject, but it'll give me what I need. It'll connect me to that energy state. And when I started interacting with my Lord and Savior like that, the magic started happening. It's like firecrackers. Magic started happening. There's been times where I've taken ideas and said, okay, what do you think? And just like an executive, he's like, I don't know about that one. Or the timing ain't right on that. Or wait a little bit on that. Or no, this one right here you need to do now. In fact, about it, that ain't really what I want you to do. But if you go do that, then I'm going to show you what it is I really want you to do. But I want you to take that step. So changing that relationship with how we pray, with how we request what we need from the universe, can make a difference because it's just a vibrational frequency. So asking the question, God, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to go. What do you think my next best move is? Is a different vibration from, Lord, please, you know I've been struggling. You know I need you. It's a different vibration. There's nothing wrong with it. Sometimes we get to that point where we're just like, look, I surrender. That's how we're supposed to be, right? But it's how we surrender. How do we go to God? Because I ain't gonna say that. But anyway, changing the frequency. What's our relationship? Here's another thing that I had to learn. A lot of times we have little spiritual rituals that we do. And within those spiritual rituals is the energy that what we want is not present and it's not here and we want it to come. And so we go through these rituals. Well, when we go through these rituals, what are we doing? We're reinforcing the fact that what we're looking for is not there. Whether we burn the sage or burning candles or whatever it is that we're doing. So sometimes some people say, well, no, I just do that to set the mood, to set the frequency. That's cool. But what's your mindset? Is your mindset that what I want is not here? And I'm hoping that by going through this ritual, it'll get here? Well, guess what? It's probably not going to come. You have little glimpses of that blessing coming. You'll have little sparks, and the sparks will be so sporadic that you'll think that's it. And so you'll keep doing the ceremony. But the real deal needs to be, Allah, open me up to you. I know who I am, and I know who I belong to, and I know whose I am. And I got this big decision to make. Open me up to you because I know this decision ain't nothing to you. I know this outcome that I'm looking for is nothing to you. And I'm connected to you. I'm on the team. I'm part of you. You got me here. You put me here. You're helping me. So how do I open up to you more? How do I have a more intimate relationship with you? How do I see you everywhere? How do I connect to you everywhere I go? How do I make sure that every breath I take is a breath of prayer, a breath of submission, an acknowledgement of love? How do I open up more to you? How do I do that? Not, Lord, I'm praying for a man and still ain't here. Or, Lord, I'm looking for this money, you still ain't sent it. And sometimes we feel like that, but here's how we turn that around. Okay, I need $50, and we're going to do it with a small amount of money, something that most of us know we can manifest. I need $50 right now, alive, and we don't have it. I don't have it, but you do. And I know I'm on the team. I know I know I'm yours. So open me up on what I can do in exchange for this $50. Do I need to go braid some hair? Do I need to go shovel some snow? Do I need to go rake some leaves? Do I need to go coach somebody? Do I need to go? What is it that I need to do? What action do I need to take in order to access this $50 out of your universe? How do I get it? So being very practical. Some of us are so addicted to the spook God that we just go and we cry and we wail and we beg, because what we really want is for God to just drop it out of the sky. We want to walk outside the house and everything that we need is right there. We want to wake up in the morning and whatever we need is right there in the bedroom. We're so addicted to the spook God that we don't believe that we have to do for self or do anything for what it is that we want. And the reason why, when we see other people have these magical blessings, excuse me, is because, when we take one step towards God, he comes at us flying. So that one little step we take, that one little step when we say, what can I do? Is there anything else I should do? Should I be still? What do I need to do? But we're always engaging. Sometimes he'll say, just sit still. I got this. I got to move some things out of the way first, and then you go. But my prayers and my interactions have sometimes been so personal that I've heard an answer back just like I'm talking to you today. So when we're making big decisions, what makes them big decisions? They're big decisions because we're trying to accomplish it all at once. We're not looking at it as a series of micro decisions. We're trying to accomplish it all at once. We want it to happen all at once. And we really don't want to do anything for it. We just want to ask God and have it plop right down into our lap. Some of us don't believe in God. Some of us don't believe in God, and we don't ask God for anything, or we don't relate to God like that. So some of us will say, okay, I need that $50, so I'm going to go take it from somebody. I'm going to go push somebody down in the street. Because I don't believe there's any other way. I don't believe there's another power. There's a source that I can go to. I don't believe that all the riches in the universe belong to me. I don't believe that I own the sun, moon, and stars. I don't believe that I'm on the team. So since I don't believe I'm on the team, I'm going to take some stuff out the break room. I don't feel a part of the team, so I'm going to steal some stuff from the front desk. I don't feel like I'm part of the team, so I'm going to go into the inventory room and I'm going to take I'm going to take mine, because you're not making me part of the team. So when we don't feel like we're part of God's team, and we don't understand it from that standpoint, we start taking, we start scheming, we start scamming, we start becoming a sociopath, manipulating people, places, and things. But if we really understand that we really are on the team, we're part of the team, and in making those decisions, they're not necessarily big decisions. They're just a series of small decisions that we got to go ahead and make, because it's not going to fix itself. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to fall out of the sky. So we have to stop standing on the sidelines going, I know I need to make this big decision. I know I need to make it, but I'm not, I'm waiting on God. Really? Are you really? What kind of conversations have you had with God about it? Some people, some people say, well, I prayed for it. I prayed on it. What does that mean? And what kind of prayer are you praying? What is the reason why we stand on the sideline and don't make that big decision? Because we're afraid that we can't swim. We're afraid to jump in the water. We're trying to be safe. And so we make the decision big when a lot of times it ain't really that big. Some of you all know that you need to start your business. You looking at this company that you're working for, and you know that the revenue is not there. You know that they may not be open. You know that they don't like you. And it's not a place where you feel like you can go and give some good ideas and that they're going to acknowledge you and let you in. You know that. But you're just standing on the sidelines. You're just waiting. Some of us are working a job or working a business and we're stuck in our comfort zone. We want more. We want more money. We want more clients. We want more opportunities. We want more sales. We want more access. We want more. But we're not willing to do what we need to do in order to get access to more. That becomes a big decision to us. And so we're sitting there going, I don't know what to do. Do something real simple. Write it down on a piece of paper and just sit there and meditate on it. Write down what it is that you want and just sit there and meditate on it. Lord, I really want more clients so I can make more money. Put that on a piece of paper. And watch your subconscious mind start to figure out how to make that happen. And when you start getting the opportunities and your subconscious mind starts presenting to you how to make it happen, don't you get scared and stay on the fence and stay on the sideline. Step out there and do it. For many of us, making a decision is just that simple. Many of us don't have big decisions where we got to sit up and go through a whole lot of analytics. You in a relationship, that person slaps you every morning. You really don't have to go through a lot of analytics for that. You know that you need to go. You know what you need to do, but you don't. Some of us are working for companies and we know they're racist. We know that they're not going to let us make the money that we need to make. And let me say this too. A lot of companies and a lot of industries have set up systems where they're it's like this in healthcare, for example. They pretty much already know how much money you're going to make operating within that system. They know what the max revenue is. They've already done the analytics. They already know. And so you and I sitting there arguing, fussing, and fighting, trying to squeeze blood out of a turnip when they've already got a system set up is actually not intelligent. And the people who are the powers that be, they get it. They know that you're not that smart. They know you know what you may know. You may be a good worker, but you're not that smart because you're trying to pull something out of a system that they've already set it up. They know just how much money you're going to be able to make. It's the same way in financial services. It's that way in healthcare. So what do you have to do? You have to take charge of your post. You have to design a system for yourself. So during the day, or you may spend a certain number of hours a day doing certain things within this industry, but then you got to figure out What are my other supplemental income streams? What are the other things that I do, perhaps within that industry, but outside of the system that I'm in, that will give me access to more customers or more opportunities? How do I make more money? You have a lot of people in nursing who said, you know what, after COVID, I'm not getting ready to stay up in the hospital. So they're opening up spas and wellness centers and things like that. And they're saying how some of them are saying, I quadrupled my income. So it's up to you and I to figure out and understand the rules of engagement within the system that we're in, and then figure out how to give ourselves more access. What's going to help you make more money? I'm going to use myself as an example. I'm a very, very diverse person. I'm very multicultural in my approach to things. I love cultural fusion foods, and I love international travel. If you've been to my house is very eclectic in terms of the art, the furniture, and the way that I express myself. It's very much me. And it's a reflection. Well, I needed a way to reflect the diversity of my personality. I'm a deeply spiritual person. I'm not afraid to embrace knowledge from wherever it comes from. The base of my spirituality, the foundation of my spirituality is Islam, as taught to us by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I am a student of Master Farrakhan Muhammad. That's my foundation. I'm a seeker. So I'm always looking for God everywhere. I'm seeking him everywhere. And so I love things that speak to the presence of God, whether it's the beauty of nature, whether it's just how somebody else expresses themselves. I'm also a very technical and mathematical person. I'm really, really good at business. I'm really good at building businesses and developing businesses and creating revenue flows and revenue streams for other people and for myself. I'm trained at that. I'm good at that. That's another aspect of my personality. I love art. I'm an artist. So I love music. I love art. I love dance. I'm a very loving person. I love people. I love to be able to trust and love. That's a big part of my personality. I'm very communal. So when I start looking at all of that, at all of those aspects of my personality, I'm a teacher, I'm a trainer. I'm not a one-trick pony. And so when I started blogging in 2009, when my father passed, I started doing a written blog that went into an audio blog that later went into a video blog. But you know why I started blogging? Because I was in the corporate world and I had begun to notice that everybody around me saw me in one way, and it bothered me. And I'll tell you a little bit more of my business because I really want this to help you all. I was dating someone who really only liked the corporate Wendy. Y'all can probably guess how long that wasn't gonna work. But the other sides of me, the spiritual side of me, I got a gangster side of me that's behind this chair. You can't mess with me either. But he said, I really just like the corporate Wendy. And the rest of that, I wish you just go get somewhere and sit down. But I took responsibility for that. And I was so grateful for that messaging from him. Needless to say, we broke up. But I was grateful for that. Because what it made me realize was that I had really just been honing in on one aspect of my personality. And so what I said was, I need a way to show people all of who I am. I'm confident that because God made me this way, that people are going to love it. People are going to like it. People can learn from it. And so I started audio blogging about my experiences, about who I am, when I would travel, where I would go. At that time, I was doing a lot of corporate travel within the United States. I hadn't really started deeply on the international travel. And when I would be in these cities, I'd go on nature hikes and I'd go to museums and I'd go to all kind of different things so that I could experience the city. I try to understand the culture because what I love is looking at how the environments that people are in create culture. And and so I said, I need a way to express myself. I need a way to show who I am because the business side of me is so impressive. This is me talking to God. You've made the business acumen and the business side of me so impressive that people will gravitate towards that. Or people will gravitate towards the real estate. Or some people gravitate towards the spiritual side. I had discovered that probably 10 or so years earlier that I was really deeply spiritual and that I could really help people with their spirituality. But then some people only saw me there. I'm an artist. I can sing, I can dance, I can paint, I can draw, but when I go there, then people just see me there. And then the other parts of me start to get offended because it's like, hey, what about me? Well, what if I don't segregate myself so much? Just when you go to work, stop leaving spiritual Wendy at home, stop leaving the artist at home. Let's fuse it. How do you dress? How do you present yourself? How do you look? Who are you? And so I started to really go on a mission with that. And I started to look for ways that I could express myself more and more. And guess what God started doing? I felt like he said, there you go, baby. And he started giving me more and more ways in which I could express myself and show who I am. And so I started to have these really diverse projects that had a lot of different aspects to them, where I had to use a lot of different aspects of my personality, where I had to use all of me in order to get it done. And so I'm saying to you all to personalize. And this is the reason why I'm not going to go. Somebody asked me, are you going to just go deep into how to make a decision? I'm not going to do that because everybody's different. For some of us, a decision just comes to us. For some of us, we've ignored data for so long that we need to sit up and be analytical. Some of us do need to sit down. And I'll give you one technique. I will say this. If I ever coach you and you ever hire me for emotional intelligence coaching, I will take you through this process. When you have something that you're trying to make a decision on, what we do is we take a sheet of paper and we write down all the outcomes, whether we want the outcome or not. Every single outcome. Then we may come up with 10. Okay. And in those 10 outcomes, we figure out what emotion we're having as connected to that outcome. And what that does, it helps us to get in contact with all of the emotions that are up in here. And it helps us to find the blind spot so that we know how to move around and make that decision. And I've done this enough where a lot of times I see people, I'll see them in a position in business or in an organization, and I say, that person's stuck. And I'll know they're stuck because I can tell their potential versus what their outcome is. And they're stuck 9 times out of 10 because there's something back here emotionally that they can't get past. And so what I'd like to pride myself on doing is helping you see past your blind spots. So that's why a lot of these shows are just about raising awareness, raising awareness, getting us to think, getting us to think, getting us to go deeper, getting us to think about what mistake we've made and how we can fix it. What actions are we taking that we know we need to take responsibility for? And tomorrow we're going to talk about that. We're going to continue because it's the spook God that got us messed up. So tomorrow we're going to talk about how to take responsibility for our actions. Because a lot of us around here messing up and we expect the spook God to fix it. A lot of us around here being negative, pretending we Christian, pretending we're Muslims, pretending we're conscious, pretending we're this or that, but we're not. We some damn predators and liars. Some of us just lie for no damn reason. And do you know when you do that, that when you get righteous people who are watching you, then they don't trust you because you didn't have to lie about that. You just wasted a lie. You may have to lie to save your life. Some of us around here, we really ain't who we say we are. We're really not. And guess what? The enemy knows because the enemy's watching. The enemy ain't watching because they worried about you doing something wrong. They watching because they checking for that weakness. So they know how to take you out when they get ready. That's a conversation. All right, let's see. Sister Monica says, teach on that, Sister Sajdah, the getting ready to get ready with fear syndrome. That's exactly right. Servant Nasir says, you deep into the process of thinking of an entrepreneur, striving hard to follow a lot. Yeah. Because business is not always, it's not all about being a predator. And we talk about that a lot. We'll do some more shows on that. I won't go into that. Nubia Latifa says, confirmation for me to stay on my entrepreneurial journey. It's going to work out in the end. It really is, Sister Latifa. It's all about you tweaking your mindset, your thought process, and figuring out who you need to be. Right? Who do you need to be? That's all it is. It's just changing and morphing and adjusting and making those micro decisions. And in the meantime, you might have to steal away. You may have to still work your job and steal away and kind of just pinch yourself off. But the idea is going through these awareness steps, going through these steps where you're studying yourself. Because a lot of us don't know ourselves. We've been working jobs all our lives. So we don't know how somebody will respond to us when we go out and try to sell them something. We don't know how a person will respond to our face. We don't know how somebody's going to respond to our voice. And until we know our impact on the world or on those that we're influencing, we want to influence, we can't get that business going. Some of us don't know how the world is going to respond to our designs. So it takes time. A big part of being an entrepreneur is sales. Some of us don't have our sales techniques all the way down. We don't know how to sell. We don't know how we're going to respond if somebody says no to us. We don't know how we're going to respond if somebody lies to us. We don't know how we're going to respond if somebody says, yes, I want to do business with you. It takes time to figure that kind of stuff out. Sister Monica says, multidimensional self. Yes, my gangster self is my seer and protects my corporate, communal, and high cultural side. There you go, Sister Monica. There you go. LinkedIn user says, code switching is not just something we do to fit in corporate America. Yes, yes, and yes. We also code switch with family and friends to make them comfortable. We stop being our whole self. We code switch also, LinkedIn users, with ourselves. Because it depends on where our ego is that day. So code switching is part of, I call it the spook God syndrome. Because we don't have confidence in who we showed up on the planet to be and who we are. So we're always trying to figure out, how do I be somebody other than myself? Because myself is not good enough. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us, accept your own and be yourself. There's a show on this channel where I talked about, I think I did it twice, on accepting yourself. is so critical because so many of us feel like our own self is not good enough. And that translates into everything we do. So if we don't believe that our own self is good enough, so we're constantly code switching, we don't like other people that look like us. We don't accept other people that look and sound and are from where we're from. We just don't. We just don't. I meet other women who don't like other women. That's because you don't like yourself. There's something about you that you don't like. If you don't like other people that look like you, then you need to go inside of yourself and say, you need to ask yourself right now, what is it that I don't like about myself? Lewis Jr. is on here. He said, go ahead, sis. Powerful. Say that, say that. Sis, who else is this? Mariella Veleno says, powerful. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Facts, teach about that, beloved. Okay, praise be to Allah. That is part 2 of making big decisions. Got to get up out this spook God syndrome. Stop waiting on the spook God. Spook God not going to come make you lose weight. Spook God is not going to help you get healthier. Spook God ain't going to put no money in your pocket. Spook God ain't going to put no food in your belly. Spook God is not going to find a relationship for you. Spook God is not going to build that business for you. Spook God ain't going to do nothing but mess your mind up and have you around here code switching and tripping and scared all the time because you done made up this God that ain't even real. Ain't even real. Spook God ain't going to drive you to work. Spook God ain't going to give you the money for the train. Spook God ain't going to call your mama. Spook God ain't going to make your boyfriend call you. It's a spook God. It's not real. This is a mental practice that we probably had to have to survive during the trauma of being an enslaved person. And so you're constantly in your head. I can only imagine that you're dreaming about, maybe some slaves didn't even dream of being outside of the plantation. But in that trauma space, there's so much fear. It was very much fear-based. So you're always afraid of something. Afraid you're going to get caught. Afraid to go to the end of the driveway. Afraid to speak up. Afraid to look up. You're made to be afraid because you're threatened with violence. But what happens? It's the threat. It's the fear. Let me say this. You know, right after slavery, during Reconstruction, I have this book. Oh yeah, this is not just a female thing. This is men and women. That's right. Men don't like other men. I have this book that I've been studying for a while. I have a couple of them, but this one is called, it's by Juliet E.K. Walker. It's called The History of Black Business in America. This book is powerful. And I have written all throughout this book because I study it all the time. And it starts off talking about how right after slavery, during that period of Reconstruction, how good we did, how many businesses we had. It talks about the number of inventors and high-level business people that were developed right after Reconstruction. It is deep because it also talks about how many of us went into fields of study right after slavery was over that were the same as those that our ancestors had done when we were kidnapped those hundreds of years before. Now that's deep. She talked about people who came from iron workers who went back into ironworking. People who came from farmers who went back into farming. Deep, very, very deep, because it's a subconscious thing. But what I love about this is that it's showing us what we began to build in the face of certain types of fear. This fear thing is a science. We ought to break this down on the show one day. Because the type of fear that we were facing right after slavery is very similar to that type of fear that the Asian community faced when they came over here, where it's like, look, we're not doing business with y'all. Get over here in this corner. You can only live. We're going to redline you. So you got to figure out what you need right over here in this space, in this area. And we did that. We invented stuff. We opened businesses. We had hotels. We had restaurants. We had banks. We had dress shops and suit shops and tailor shops. And we had hair salons. We had dentists. We had it, you name it. Okay. You name it, we had it. That's how I should say that. But then they introduced another type of fear. We had terrorism happen to us, where people started firebombing and destroying our communities. We were victims of mass terrorism. And then that fear made a lot of people leave. And they said, I'm going to go live somewhere else. And every time we start to reach certain levels of success, a new fear is ushered in. So since we can't stop people from being jealous of us and trying to make us afraid, what we can control is this mind. How we react to it, how we think, how we move, and how we use these 24 billion miles per second. And that's what this show is all about. I have no doubt that we're going to be victims of terrorism again. But how do we overcome it this time? What do we do? How do we make sure that we have staying power in the face of controversy? How do we ensure that we manifest in the face of controversy? How do we make sure that our mental capacity has a certain steadfastness? I believe that we have to hook on to the firm handle of a way of life given to us by a man who foresaw and lived through all of this. That's what I believe. I believe in it wholeheartedly. That we've been given a way of life. The world has been given a way of life. And we can defeat the enemy that is envious, jealous, that's terrorizing us. We can win. We gotta work on tuning in. We gotta work on making big decisions. We gotta work on being in our intuitive flow state, like we talked about yesterday. We got to work on our critical thinking ability. We got to work on our mind. Because if they can't outthink us, they can't get us. All right, y'all. I hope this made sense today. Thank you all. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you got anything out of this today. I really appreciate it. Y'all know what to do. Give a love offering. You done sat in the seat. So just give a little something for the seat. We didn't charge you for the seat. So go to Cash App, Sajdah Enterprises, or hit that super chat button at the bottom. Those of you on LinkedIn, Facebook, I see some of you all there. Go to Cash App, Sajdah Enterprises, Sajdah Enterprises. Give a love offering and tune in tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. This is our original coffee talk time. So tune in tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. We're going to continue to talk about this spook God and believing in something that is not real. We're going to continue to have that conversation. Okay. Um, all right. And if you have any questions, make sure you send them to me. I'm happy to talk about them, or you can put them in the chat tomorrow morning. So bring your questions, put them in the chat tomorrow morning, and we'll go from there. Okay, Sister Dawn says she came on up in here a little late, but she still learned much. She said, I'll be watching the replay. Praise be to Allah. Thank you all for your thumbs up. Um, Sister Monica, she sent a thumbs up. LinkedIn user said it's Deborah. Um, Mom sent her thumbs up and heart. So look, let's stop believing in that spook God. Spook God ain't gonna do nothing for us. All right, peace and blessings, family. Y'all know it's about to be Cinco de Mayo weekend, and I know a lot of time. Let me say this, because a lot of us, we see our Mexican brothers and sisters celebrating the weekend of Cinco de Mayo, and we don't really know what it is. Look it up. They are celebrating their victory against occupation in Mexico. But I want you to look it up. If you don't like to read, go to YouTube and just type the meaning of Cinco de Mayo. Cinco, Cincod, Mayo, Mayo. I know a lot of y'all don't know what it is. So don't get so irritated. I had a friend that used to get so irritated during Cinco de Mayo. You know me, I love me some Cinco de Mayo, because I just think it's such it's not only is it a fun time, and it represents a wonderful time of the year. For me, being a Midwestern girl, Cinco de Mayo always comes at the time when the weather is changing. So it's just fun to go somewhere and sit outside and just be a part of the celebration. But just be safe. But go look it up. I think we should celebrate anyone's independence. When anyone wins, we should be found celebrating. All right. Peace and blessings, family. We'll see y'all tomorrow morning. Assalamu alaikum.